You do have to put like your whole heart and soul into it. In business, if you're not moving forward,
Yep.
you're moving backward.
This is So You Want to Start a Business, episode number, I don't know, I think we're on number 8. And we're sitting down with Jerrick from Jerrick's Fine Jewelry. So Jerrick, tell me why jewelry? I mean, really, that's the question here.
Well, I kind of fell into it on accident.
Okay,
I guess.
great.
I'll tell you a little story. I was actually serving tables
Cool.
while I was going to college.
Uh-huh.
And my then girlfriend, now wife, went
Nice.
engagement ring shopping.
Ooh.
And got to be kind of friends with the owners of a jewelry store because they would come into the restaurant and I'd, serve them food and whatnot. And one day they had called me and said, "Hey, is there any way you could run us up some food?" Wasn't a delivery restaurant,
Right.
mind you. I said, "Sure, why not? Good friends. They, were going to get me an engagement ring, so, I was trying to be nice to them,
Of
too.
course.
So,
Schmooze a little bit.
Went up there, brought them some food, and the owner was by herself in the store, and she had quite a few customers in there. So I just said, "Hey, can I help?"
Yeah.
You got a lot
Why
of
not?
people here. So she threw me some case keys, and I went behind the counter and sold a few things. And then her husband had walked in, and I was like, "Okay, I got to get back to my real job."
Right.
So see you later. Well, they called me up a couple days later and said, "Hey, that was awesome."
Yeah.
They were wanting to open some stores up in Idaho, and they wanted me to join their team. And I said, "Well, sure." I was graduating college in business. I thought might be a nice change from the restaurant life.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I jumped into the jewelry industry.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so you started off pretty young when it comes to the jewelry industry, right?
Yes. So I started selling just normal selling jewelry when I was 19.
Cool.
And then I opened up my own store just after I turned 24.
That's awesome.
So, yes.
That's so stinking cool. So how long has Jerrick's been open?
So now we have been here. This will be our 12th year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like crazy to think about. So I want to go back to you talking about your restaurant and the restaurant experience is kind of what I'm looking for. Word, thank you. What do you think? How do you think that has helped you in growing your own business? How do you think that's helped you,
As far as when I
selling?
Yeah, it does transfer pretty good because as a server, you're dealing with people,
Right.
And you're trying to make people happy.
100%.
And we were always trying to upsell
Yep.
our menu items
Yep.
and desserts and drinks because the more you could get their ticket, the little bit better your
tip
would
is.
be. So, I've always been a people person. I've always loved talking to people, enjoy that interaction.
Yeah.
And that transfers over to the jewelry industry a lot because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with people.
Absolutely.
I'm talking to people all day long. I'm trying to create a happy environment.
Right.
Somewhere where they're going to trust you because there's a huge amount of trust.
Absolutely.
In jewelry. Not
Absolutely.
so much in the restaurant industry.
Right. No, it's like, yeah, I'll do that.
But that's
Got
a
it.
huge thing in the jewelry industry is building that trust and that relationship builder. And so that's, I think that serving tables kind of tied in with that aspect of it.
And speaking from my own personal experience, like I know when I come in here, it's different. Like it's just a different atmosphere, which I really enjoy because it doesn't feel pushy. Like it feels like, okay, what can I help you with, and what's really going to benefit you? What's really going to help you?
Right.
How do you think that has translated? Do you think that's come from your restaurant experience, or do you think that's come from like way back further in your life?
It's probably come, so my wife and I went engagement ring shopping a lot of different stores, right? And we were treated very differently in all of the different stores. So that's probably where a little part of it was, is I didn't necessarily love the way I was treated at some of the other stores. I grew up as a farm boy, basically.
Yeah.
I probably had mud on my boots when I went in or something.
I love that.
But I felt like I was maybe prejudged a little bit. I didn't want that.
No.
I also had an experience where we were looking at an engagement ring, and if I would have bought it, I found out that the next week it had like an 80% off sale.
Oh.
And it really hit me. I was like, well, what if I would have bought it
Right.
a week ago?
Right. You would have been mad.
Would have went on sale 80% off, and so that kind of went into the factor of how I created my business model, treating everybody the same all the time. You've probably noticed I've never ran a sale.
No.
No. It's always just good prices.
This is what it is.
This is what it is. Whether you buy it today or you buy it Black Friday, I'm going to treat you the same.
Yep.
It's more like your family.
Yeah.
You come into Jerrick's and I want you to feel like, oh, this is family. Right. So
I think that's a really good business model to be operating under, because it makes people feel comfortable, which, I mean, obviously then ends up leading to more sales because people can trust you. And like you said, it is a big purchase. I mean, you're looking at a massive purchase. Yeah. So with business itself, what do you think your biggest struggle has been starting a jewelry store in Logan?
Yeah, well, we opened in 2008. So just when the crash
Everything happened,
right?
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the hardest struggles, is because it's definitely a luxury item.
Yeah.
So our business model had to change a little bit. Luckily, in our culture, we're still engagement ring shoppers.
It's happening.
So
all the time.
You're still buying an engagement ring. We're still, getting married, that type of thing. Our luxury items, our high-end ticket items kind of went away.
Yeah.
So really one of the biggest things for me was to focus on my one core thing, and that was my bridal business, my engagement business. And so we grew that over the last 12 years. I started with 20 engagement rings in the store.
Wow.
Now we have about 3,000.
That's crazy.
So that would have been probably one of the hardest things to overcome, was people didn't have money, and if they did, it was still a fear, of what's going to happen in the future. And we're seeing a little bit of that going on right now.
Right.
So it's kind of history repeats itself a little bit, but I've been through this before, and so it's fine. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's super cool. So if somebody were to think, I want to start a business, backtrack for a minute. Was this the first, growing up, was this one of the first things you thought, okay, well, maybe one day I'm going to open a jewelry store? Or did you have different things that you were thinking, this is what I want to do?
Absolutely not. I mean, I went to college for business. I was thinking architect. I was thinking maybe landscape design. I happened to fall into that sales position at that jewelry store.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was a happy environment. It was fun. Things didn't necessarily work out with me in that company. And so there came to a point where it was like, okay, I've got to make a decision.
Right.
And we were the kind of crazy people that decided to quit their job and open up their own store during a recession.
Yeah.
So.
But sometimes, when you follow something that your heart's really calling you to do, it's going to play out the way that you wouldn't really expect it to play out. You'd hope that it would have played out that way. But then if it's really what your calling is, then that's what's going to happen.
Like you said, it's not something I just woke up or didn't grow up thinking, I'm going to own a jewelry store.
Right.
But it kind of worked everything. It worked in with my business degree. It worked in with the fact that I love people. I love dealing with people. I grew up more farmhand, so it was a lot better than milking cows or moving pipe.
You get to play with shiny stuff.
Exactly. So it's kind of an interesting.
So did you grow up with like a business type mindset? Like if you think back, were you like running lemonade stands and stuff like that as a kid?
Definitely. I mean, my first job, I was probably 9 years old.
Nice.
Me and my brother were trapping gophers.
Cool.
Cutting their tails off. We'd get $1 a gopher, So we were always, I've always been a worker. Like I said, growing up in the farm area. So moving pipe and feeding calves and milking. And so definitely had that. I have always had more of a budget mindset.
Okay.
I was the kid that got $5 for his birthday and didn't spend it.
That's cool.
Or
was not.
saved your Easter candy, rationed it out, that type of a thing. So I can see growing up how it works with business as far as that goes.
That's super cool. That's super, super cool. What would you give, like, advice-wise for people that maybe aren't necessarily business-minded? Like, do you have any kind of advice that you'd be like, this is what you should do to get into a mindset?
You do have to put, like, your whole heart and soul into it. And sometimes putting other people's needs in front of yours.
Yeah.
I would say, especially when we first opened, one of the major things is we were huge budgeters. I mean, we really broke it down to every single penny that we had, and we cut out a lot of the unnecessary expenses.
Yeah.
We actually, believe it or not, went without cell phones.
What? That's crazy.
We didn't have internet at our house. We only had it here at the store. We didn't have TV. Things like that people don't sometimes realize you have to sacrifice those things that really can add up $200, $300, $400 a month in recurring payments. You got your subscriptions and things like that. So I would say that's probably number one, is realize what your budget is.
Yeah.
And be able to be a little bit more disciplined
Yeah.
as far as that goes. And you can kind of cut costs on things that are unnecessary.
Yeah. You know, and eventually it'll end up paying off. Sure, it's a sacrifice right now, but you know, you've been 12 years and you've got your own
Right.
fantastic store. You've built a brand. You've figured out how to be able to market it and direct it the way that you want to. And, you know, it sucked, I'm sure, to not have cell phones for a little bit,
Right.
but you
Well,
know, you ended up learning.
Like you said, kind of sparked an idea. You
Yeah.
said being able to market it, and the thing is also in business is you're always changing. It's always evolving.
Yep.
You can't just open and then that's it.
Right.
You've got to change your way. 12 years ago, I was marketing way different.
Right, than
I'm
you are now.
marketing
Absolutely.
So-
You know, that's something that I find really interesting. I love the marketing side of things. I love understanding how people market. And you're right. If you are not adapting and you are not changing and you are not diversifying the way that you are marketing, then you can't just put up a sign and expect people to be like, oh, yep, this is me. Cool.
Right.
Well, they'll come in. I mean, eventually they'll come in, you know. But there are lots of different ways to be able to market. Have you guys found a lot of success, like social media wise?
Yeah, definitely. Social
Yeah.
media has grown a lot rather than like print
Right,
advertising.
right.
It's going more digital advertising. We do a lot in the radio advertising.
Right.
Our mobile marketing, our vehicles are very popular. But things like our print and our phone books, and
Yep.
things that
Kinda.
we used to do when we first opened, those have kind of went away, and we're
Yeah.
starting more of that digital. Even pay-per-clicks and
Yep. Yep.
getting into SEO optimization,
Yeah.
things like that. So.
One of the things I really like is that you guys have wrapped your cars, your vehicles out there, and you've got them in the bright green cars. And, you know, that's one of the slogans, look for the bright green cars. And I think that's been really cool. Have you guys found a lot of success because of the bright green cars?
Definitely. It's if you tell somebody where our address is 930 North Main, and they're sitting there thinking for a minute, and you go, the place with the bright green cars?
It's like, oh, yeah,
I
of
know
course,
exactly
of
where
course.
you are. Or they'll be like, oh, I saw you, in this town at this time. Like it's that recognition.
Right.
Even if it's maybe not one of my bright green cars, because there is other bright green cars
right,
going
right.
around town.
But it's a bright green car, and
They've-
people have associated
They've associated it, and they think, oh, I saw you there.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I wasn't actually in Salt Lake, but that's
But
cool.
sure, I totally was there.
Yep.
You know, and that's the really cool thing is that you guys have done a really fantastic job with branding and making sure that people know who you are and made the association with that. I love that. I really, really, really do. So if you were to give one piece of advice to somebody that wanted to start a business like today, maybe they need that extra little push of like, okay, so why would I want to start a business? What would it be?
Well, it's very self-rewarding.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, the thing is you get out of it what you put into it. It's all, for me, it's something to look back and say, wow, I built this. I
Right.
built a company that started with 20 engagement rings.
Right.
I had $15,000 in merchandise. To now, 12 years later, we have 3,000 engagement rings, over $1.5 million of merchandise.
incredible.
That has grown, and it's very rewarding to say,
Right.
I did this. Also, that's one thing in business that I'd say is one of my harder challenges is to be able to let other people help.
Right.
To
Right.
be able to delegate,
Right.
instead of me just doing it all myself. That's probably been one of my challenges, is to let other people come in and
Yeah.
help grow the industry.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot of books recently, which is a big deal because I don't read, but I've been reading a lot of books recently. And that's one of the things that a lot of people have been saying is that, if you want to run a successful business, you have to be willing to allow people to be able to help. And I'm sure that the surrender of that has got to be just hard.
It's tough because it's something that in your brain, it's your company, it's your business,
Right.
and you're the only one that knows how you want it done. But to be able to teach somebody, okay, this is the way we work, this is the way we operate, and then to see them do that, that's actually very rewarding as well.
Yeah,
So.
'cause it's like they're learning, and
Yep.
that's got to be really cool. Do you think you do a lot of it for like legacy reasons, or is it more like I just feel good because this is mine? I knew that I did this.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say legacy reasons.
Right.
It's more, it's a great business.
Yeah.
It feeds my family. It feeds my employees' families.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that, we're, contributing members of society.
Of society, right.
Trying to keep things local as well. That's
Yeah.
huge to me.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that we can still have local mom and pop shops.
Definitely.
I think that's what makes our community so great.
Right.
Is we do a lot of support, support local, shop local. I see that a lot in Cache Valley, and I think that's been very beneficial to us as well. Took
Yeah.
a few years to not
Right.
be the new guy,
Right,
you know?
right.
But now that we've been here, and word of mouth referral business is huge. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our best form of advertising is
Right.
that word of mouth. And so that's a neat experience to witness.
What do you think was your, like, I made it moment? Have you had it? Have you hit that moment? Like, I did it, you know?
I'm always growing. I
Yeah.
always have my next goal in mind, my next,
Yeah.
my next level that I want to hit. So I don't ever want to be too comfortable.
Yeah.
So I guess I haven't said I've made
That's
it yet.
cool.
But
So I want to talk about that because I think that's really important with dwelling on success. And, you know, because yes, of course you need to celebrate it. You need to be like, cool, I did this, but now it's on to the next one. I love that that's the focus of it. When you set goals, what do you do? What's your strategy behind setting goals? Do you sit down? Do you journal it out?
well, more vision, like vision boards.
Yeah.
We actually have a goal board
That's
that has
cool.
cut out pictures,
Yeah.
of things that we want to achieve,
Yeah.
whether that's a dollar amount or whether that's a car that I'm dreaming, my
Right.
dream car or my dream house or whatever,
Yeah.
Some sort of a vision board so that you can visualize that, you can see it every day, and just keep that goal in
Yeah.
the front of your mind and moving forward.
Yeah.
I've always said in business, if you're not moving forward,
Yep.
you're moving backwards.
Right. Because you're not progressing and
Right.
you can't just be stagnant when it comes to business.
Yep, exactly.
So how long have you been doing like goal-oriented stuff? Has it been since you started here or like since you were like way back when?
Forever.
Really?
Yeah. For as long as I can remember, I've always had a goal. I've always had some sort of a picture on my wall,
Mm-hmm.
Of this is my ideal, situation. This is what I want to achieve.
That's cool.
Ever since I was a young kid.
That's cool. Did your parents like raise you with that kind of a mentality or was it just something that you were like, this is just it?
I mean, definitely hard workers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instilled in us. We definitely earned what we got.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. But I think it's just a little bit of personality trait too.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to add to give people, I don't know, more value of what it's like to own a business?
Owning a business. It's funny because people are always, you got two types of people. People think that, you own a business, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
And you don't ever have to show up.
Right.
But I would have to say, the thing with owning a business is it's 24 hours a day.
Yep.
You eat, drink, sleep. That's
Yep.
It consumes you, which isn't a bad thing.
No, of course
Especially
not.
if it's something that
You're
love
passionate
to do.
about, right?
It's just kind of second nature. But that's one thing you have to be prepared for.
Yeah.
It's not a 9-to-5 job that you go to work, clock in, and when you clock out, you're done. It's always on the top of your mind. It's always right there. And hopefully it's something that you enjoy enough
Right.
that it's not a burden on you.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would say owning a business, you want to make sure that it is something that you love to do.
Yeah.
Also, as far as getting into it, making that kind of that leap of faith. Do some studying. We did some I don't know what you want to call it, but fake or mock up profit and loss situations.
Yeah.
Like, what's my bottom line? What do I have to do in order to still put food on the table?
Right.
Knowing those numbers, come into the situation educated rather than just a blind leap of faith.
Yeah. I'll help. Let's just do it.
And sometimes that works out.
Right.
But being prepared for the worst, and hoping for the best
Right.
is a smarter
Yeah.
way to do it.
Yeah, I'm
So-
sure it was super helpful. I mean, especially where you did get started in like 2008 with everything going on. I'm sure that was super, super, super helpful.
Well, that was part of the thing. If we've always told ourselves if we can make it in 2008,
Yeah.
well, then 2009, 2010, 2011, it goes up from there. So
Yeah, that's awesome. So where can people find you guys across social media, be able to reach out to you, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's just Jerrick's Fine Jewelry
'Kay.
On Facebook, on Instagram. Those are my two major platforms.
Cool.
We also have our website, which is jerricksfinejewelry.com.
Cool.
If anybody ever has any questions, my cell phone is actually blasted all over those
Nice,
sites. So
nice.
text me, That's
Yeah,
another thing that
sweet.
it's amazing in business. When I first got in the jewelry industry, you never had a cell phone on
No.
the show floor.
No, of
now
course
it's like
not.
always. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're selling rings via text message.
Yeah.
So
And that's the cool thing, It's cool that you guys have adapted that way. It's cool that you're accessible that way, that people can ask you questions. I think it speaks a lot because it's more of a personalized experience, because I want to go right back to what you said at the beginning. It's a huge investment. This is a big chunk of change that you're going to be dropping on something. And if you have somebody that's dedicated, that is willing to be personal and genuine with you, I think it shows.
Well, that's the thing with the ring is besides a house and a car,
Yeah.
it's probably one of the biggest purchases you make.
Right.
But I would dare say it's the only purchase that you keep the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
It has so much meaning. It has so much, I don't know, if somebody loses their ring, that sentimental value is, I mean, yeah, it can be replaced,
Devastating.
but it's devastating,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So this is something that is such an experience that we treat, you know, with every customer, we treat with the same amount of respect. You know, we want to find a ring that they love. We want to help make that memory, make that piece of jewelry that is an heirloom.
Absolutely.
It can be passed down to their children and
Why
their
not?
grandchildren. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're about. We love helping everyone.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Sweet. Anything else that you would like to add?
No, I don't think so. Just if anybody ever has any questions about business or if they want to just come check out the store, they're welcome. There's, no barriers here. Just
Awesome.
come on in anytime.
Awesome. Well, Jerrick, thank you so much for taking the time to sit
Absolutely.
down and chat. And this has been So You Want to Start a Business, episode number 8.